In this chapter, we're going to be talking about redirects. Redirects are a way that the server uses to send a visitor from your site from where a piece of content used to be to where it is now. And this can happen for a number of different reasons. Maybe you change the name of a product, or maybe you used to have some content categorized in a certain way, and now you want to categorize it in a different way. And it's there are a couple of different types. The main one is a 301, and 301 just basically means this piece of content has permanently moved over here. And so if anybody comes here, just forward them over there. A 307 is probably the second most used, and it means this piece of content has temporarily moved over here, but eventually it's going to come back to this page. And you might use that if maybe your maybe the checkout of your e-commerce solution goes down and you want to redirect that traffic over to a Yahoo store or something so that you're not losing your sales. So you might use a 302 redirect, and then when you get it fixed, you turn off the redirect, and now your site's back up and running, and this one goes away. So between the 301 and 302, that covers, I would guess, 99% of redirects that you'll run into out there. The thing about redirects is that they're not ideal. Google has actually come out and said if you send a 301 redirect, we're not going to pass full page rank through that redirect. And they didn't say, hey, you're going to get a 10% penalty or a 50% penalty or anything like that, but they did say that you will get penalized. And so you want to try and avoid using redirects when you can. If you can't, just be aware that if you do a redirect, what was ranking well with this piece of content that was redirected over here, this piece of content may not rank as well until you get those links fixed and get the optimization where it needs to be on this piece of content. Not to say that it'll never be back up there, but just initially you're going to probably suffer a drop in your rankings. Certainly if you change your entire website into a redirect, that's going to be problematic. Well, Drupal deals with redirects in a couple of different ways. The main redirect module that I'm going to recommend that you install next is called the Global Redirect module. Let me show you, before we turn it on, let me show you a couple of things. If I go to the front page of my site, Double Rainbow Real Estate, and let's see, we're working with this piece of content, say. Notice I have that nice path that we just created. If I go to, if I hover over the edit, you'll see down there at the bottom, you'll see where it says node/52/edit. Well, here's the deal. If I go here and I go node/52, that same piece of content shows up on my site. So that means I now have two different URLs with the exact same piece of content. Well, interestingly, because Drupal is cleaning up that URL for me, it cleans it up, but it doesn't turn off the dirty URL. So if I put in $Q equals node/52, the exact same piece of content is going to come up. So now I have three different URLs that all have the same piece of content. And then you can do crazy things like if I put a trailing slash at the end, well, Drupal's smart enough to know that, hey, what I really want is node/52. The trailing slash to Drupal is immaterial. To Google, they'll actually consider that a different location. So if I had trailing slashes to all those, now I have 6 different locations where this piece of content could show up. And add on top of that, if I decide, hey, this node, I'm going to make the front page of my site, which is a very popular thing to do. Create a node, put all your good stuff in there, make that the front page of your website. Now I've got 7 different locations that all have the exact same piece of content, but they have all different URLs. Now, chances are those URLs are not going to just kind of get out and propagate, but you're running the risk that you will have a whole bunch of duplicate content on your site. So there is a module that solves this problem for you. It is called, as I mentioned, and I'm going to go through the SEO checklist, it's called the Global Redirect Module. So you're just going to go here, go to URL paths, Global Redirect, click the download link, take you there, grab the recommended version. You're going to go to Enable and scroll down to the Global Redirect module, turn it on, click Save, and there are some configuration things you can do, but just by turning this module on, you've largely solved your problem. So this was node/52, so I'm going to delete that out and I would say node/52, and you see what happened. It redirected to the proper path. If I do the dirty URL $Q equals node/52, it redirects me. If you set this node as the front page of your Drupal site and somebody goes to one of those other aliases, the Global Redirect module will go, don't send them there. Instead, take them to the front page of the site. That's where the real version of this content lives. So just by turning that module on, you've solved a tremendous duplicate content penalty. And so it's one of the easiest modules to install and configure. Now, if you do want to configure it, it's going to be here under Site Configuration. Pull down to Global Redirect, and you do have a couple of options. Really just, I'm not even going to go through these, but I just want to show you that they are there. If you're having some trouble with it or you have a special use case or something, know that there are some things to configure, but you don't need to change any of those settings for it to work perfectly for you. Now there might be some time that you have a piece of content and you want to redirect it to another page, let's go ahead and create a case scenario for that. Say I've got my Seekonk schools, but you know what? I did some research and I found out there weren't any schools in Seekonk. All the schools are in the neighboring town, and so I just want to redirect this one to how to price Seekonk real estate. Really terrible use case scenario, but hey, let's go with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're actually going to delete this this node. And but first, before I do that, I want to make a note. This is node/52. I'm going to need to remember that because this is where that old alias is. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say, hey, we're going to delete this, confirm that I want to delete it. And now let's go create a redirect from that now dead, gone piece of content to this one. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that out because I'm going to need it. I'm going to go to Site Building, Redirects, add a redirect. Remember, it was node/52 that I'm redirecting from. And then I paste in where I want the redirect to go. So we have all those links out on the internet pointing to my website, to Seekonk Schools. The internal reference for that piece of content in Drupal is node52. So I want to make sure that when those visitors come in and they're looking for what was /Seekonk-schools, what's internally referred to as node52, that they'll get redirected to some other page on the site that gives them relevant information, relevant content. That place we've decided, and again, strictly an example, is the how to price Seekonk, Massachusetts real estate. And so that's where we're going to redirect them to. We've got everything entered in there. Under my advanced options, I've got a 301. I want to double check and make sure that it is I'm doing a permanent redirect. And there's a lot of other ways that you can redirect it, a lot of different options. I'm not going to cover them all. You'll probably only ever use a 301, maybe a 307 temporary redirect. And then we're going to click Save. And now that's saved in there. And now internally, if anybody ever comes in and they go to node 52, it's going to redirect to how to price Seekonk, Massachusetts real estate. And that's how you create a 301 redirect in Drupal. But now you're wondering, what about the alias Seekonk Schools? If I go type that in, is it going to redirect to the right place? Seekonk Schools. Uh-oh. I get a 404 page not found error. That means I need to go create a redirect for Seekonk Schools. So I'm going to go right back to my URL redirect screen, add another redirect. It's going to be Seekonk Schools. I'm going to redirect it to content / how to price Seekonk Massachusetts real estate. I know that it's set on 301, but I always like to double check. And then I'm going to click Save. Great, that's done. Now if I go to Seekonk Schools, it will properly redirect me to the how to price Seekonk Massachusetts real estate. And that is how to create a complete 301 redirect that's going to redirect both the user-friendly clean URL and the internal node reference to a new place on your website. So now that we have that done, let's go back to the SEO checklist, to the URL paths. Notice that it already detected that they are enabled, so it checks them for you. Click the Save button, adds the time and date stamp, and so now we're done with this section. Basically what we've done now is we've made sure that we've minimized as much as possible the duplicate content problems that are inherent with Drupal with the global redirect module, and then we've enabled a tool that really helps us to create those 301 redirects that we occasionally need when we're moving content around on our site. And that's how to handle redirects in Drupal.